Hi there, Year 5. It's Mrs. Flavell back here again with your final instalment of the first chapter of the 100-mile-an-hour dog. Hope you've been enjoying the first two parts of the chapter, which I found quite funny, and I'm pretty sure you did. And we'll see how you get on today. Spoonie says hello to you all too.
So today's success criteria is I'm up in the game, 10 out of 12 questions to be answered correctly, and try and use that text to support my answers. You will be successful if you do that. So your targets, I can answer questions using the text to support them, so make sure you use that text to give some ideas in your answers. I can understand underlying humour in text, and I can think ahead to the outcomes of a story. And then when you self-assess, think about what sort of outcomes you've had: good ones, medium ones, not so good ones. We'll get back to that at the end. I got bored watching Streaker and turned to the golf course instead, where several groups of players were wandering about, hunting for their golf balls. Then I saw Tina on the other side of the course. She was taking Mouse for a walk. Mouse is actually a huge St. Bernard. I guess you could say that Mouse is one big joke. Okay, let's get this straight right away. Tina is my friend. She is a very good friend. I like her. She's clever and funny. She's a friend. Just that. She's not my girlfriend, okay? I know she says she is, but that's just her. I'm telling you, she's not. And I know my mum and dad like to say she's my girlfriend, but she isn't. She's just a friend. Have I made that quite clear? Good. We only hold hands sometimes, and that's only because she gets scared. I waved across at her. Tina stopped and waved back. Mouse stopped and waved back. Oh, no, of course he didn't. It was just his tongue doing a lot of flopping about. That was when Streaker spotted Mouse and Mouse spotted Streaker. Now, Streaker and Mouse are best friends, a bit like me and Tina. And I don't mean they hold paws with each other. They're just always pleased to see each other. So Streaker goes tearing across the golf course and Mouse goes plodding towards her. And when they reach each other, they happen to be right beside one of those sandpit things you see on a golf courses. They're called bunkers. Don't ask me why. I think they should be called bonkers instead. Of bunkers. Bonkers is much better word for something as daft as a sandpit in the middle of a golf course. So Streaker and Mouse go rolling into the bunker and start jumping on top of each other and kicking the sand around, and soon there's sand going everywhere. The two dogs are growling and leaping and rolling and shaking their fur and having the best play fight ever, when all of a sudden, plop, a golf ball comes whizzing out of nowhere and lands in the bunker. The dogs take no notice and just carry on with their play fight. Then three golfers come along. Oh dear, one of them is my dad, and even worse, he's with Sergeant Smug, our local policeman, and Mr. Buffington Hall, who is not only the chief constable but also president of the golf club. Do they look happy? No, they don't. those wretched dogs out of that bunker, yelled the chief constable. My ball is in there somewhere. We're midway through a game. Get those dogs out. No dogs allowed, bellowed Sergeant Smug. Oi, I know that black one. That's Streaker. She's always causing trouble. My dad turned white. Who would he blame? Oh, I know. Me. Trevor, he yelled. Get the dogs out of there at once. I started to run towards the bunker, but there wasn't much point because Streaker had suddenly discovered the chief constable's ball, and she was on it like a shot, grabbing it in her mouth and running off, with Mouse close behind her. Not far behind Mouse came two rabbits, and then Chief Constable and Sergeant Smug. Dad just stood and watched in dismay. Oh dear, there's trouble ahead. Right, number one. Why is it ironic that Tina's dog is called Mouse? Now, ironic means the expression of a person's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite, typically for a humorous, empathetic effect. So that means that you use it the opposite deliberately, a little bit sarcastically, just for the effect of it. So you were looking why Tina's dog, why is it ironic he is called Mouse? Number two, what does Trevor try to stress about Tina? Number three, how is Mouse opposite to Streaker? What is the sandpit on the golf course called? How do we know Streaker and Mouse like each other? What lands in the bunker? Who are playing golf? My dad turned white. What does that tell us about how Dad is feeling? What does dismay mean? Use a simile to describe how Mouse comes out of the bunker. How does oh dear, there's trouble ahead end the chapter well? Does it make you want to read on? Right, I discussed the term irony at the beginning and gave a little explanation at the side of the question. So, why is it ironic that Tina's dog is called Mouse? Well, St. Bernards are big, huge, massive, fluffy dogs. Okay, so it is ironic that they've called it Mouse. I think it's a bit of a joke that they've said, oh, it's going to be a big, massive dog, so we will call it Mouse. So it's ironic because a mouse is such a small creature and mouse name, give it a capital M because it's his name, is a huge St. Bernard. Okay, and what does Trevor try to stress about Tina? He is really trying to get over the fact that he and Tina are friends. Okay, very good friends. Okay, he's got a bit of an issue with being called friends or boyfriend and girlfriend. We'll discuss this later on in a further question at the end. So how is Mouse opposite to Streaker? Well, Streaker goes tearing across the golf course towards Mouse, and Mouse goes plodding towards her. So they are opposite in the fact that Streaker does everything at double speed. Mouse is a big, heavy, plodding dog. And is super slow. Okay, so what is the sandpit on the golf course called? Besides one of those sandpit things you see on a golf courses, they are called bunkers. There you go. And if you've got the word bunkers, then you've got that one correct as well. How do we know Streaker and Mouse like each other? So that was when Streaker spotted Mouse and Mouse spotted Streaker. Now Streaker and Mouse are best friends. There we go. It tells us they are best friends, a bit like me and Tina. So Streaker and Mouse go, and the next bit of text reading on, and Streaker and Mouse go rolling into the bunker and start jumping on top of each other. So they are best friends and love to play fight. This is where they are rolling into the sand bunker and jumping on top of each other. They're happy to, genuinely happy to see each other. Okay, so what lands into the bunker, and plop, the golf ball comes whizzing out of nowhere and lands in the bunker. Sounds like a recipe for bad news, because we already know what does Streaker like to do with golf balls. She likes to chew them up. So, who are playing golf? Okay, we have got Sergeant Smug. He appears in the stories before, as often tangles with him. Mr. Buffington Orr, who is not only the Chief Constable, but President of the Golf Club, and obviously it is his dad who is playing with them. So, it says here, my dad turned white. What does this tell us about how his dad is feeling? Well, quite often, if somebody turns white, it means his dad is really angry and the blood has drained away from his face. Okay, and sometimes there is an expression to go white with anger. Okay, so suddenly dad has realised what has happened, and that it is his dog, or his son's dog as he puts it, that has scarpered off with the ball. Right, don't need to use any text really for this bit. So what does dismay mean? Well, dismay means disappointment. Disappointment and dread, I think, as well, is a little bit involved with the term dismay. So use a simile to describe how Mouse comes out of the bunker. Well, think about Mouse, big, heavy, lumbering dog. What animal could we describe as a big, heavy, lumbering animal? We could say Mouse heaved herself out of the bunker like a huge, lumbering elephant. Okay, or it could be she lumbered out of the bunker as slow as a snail. Remember, she's the opposite to Streaker, so we need to think about big, slow, lumbering things when you come to doing your simile. Now, similes, they are likened something to liken something else. So remember that. If you have got anything similar to that, then you are correct. Right, for this one, we'll just discuss the answers. There's not really anything you can write down which is right or wrong. It's probably based on your own thoughts. So how does "oh dear, there's trouble ahead" end the chapter well? Well, you know actually from this that we know that there is going to be repercussions from this. And this helps us follow on with question 12. Does it make you want to read on? Well, yes, it does make you want to read on. You want to find out what happens to the dog, what happens to the golf ball, and what happens with Dad and Trevor, and what happens with the fact that it's Sergeant Smug and the Chief Constable that are playing golf with Dad. We know there's going to be repercussions from this, and yes, we do want to read on from it. So, always left on cliffhangers, the chapters in this, because purely because to make you want to read on. Right, I just wanted to go back and look at this part of the text again. It's the part where Trevor is going on about Tina a bit too much, I think. Okay, let's get this straight right away. Tina is my friend. She's a very good friend. I like her. She's clever and funny. She's a friend, just that. She's not my girlfriend, okay? I know she says she is, but that's just her. I'm telling you, she's not. And I know my mum and dad like to say she's my girlfriend, but she isn't. She's just a friend. Have I made that quite clear? Good. We only hold hands sometimes, and that's only because she gets scared. Right, looking at this part of the chapter, we get a look into Trevor's relationship with Tina. So, how does he feel about Tina? Is he being truthful, do you think? Why are many of the sentences short? Have a little look at this, jot some ideas down, or have some thoughts about it, and we'll have a look in a moment with some answers based upon this text. Right, okay, let's discuss this part then. So, how does he feel about Tina? Well, he obviously likes Tina a lot, otherwise he wouldn't talk about her as much as he does. And he actually doth protest so strong, and quite often, so if people protest so strongly about something, it means actually they are really liking that person. Okay, he is trying to justify himself, and actually, yes, he is. She is a girl. She is his friend, but actually they do get on, and he just sort of slips in at the end and leaves it there. We only hold hands sometimes, and that's only because she gets scared. He tries to make an excuse up for it. So again, we can see Trevor obviously does really like Tina. So he's not quite being truthful when he is actually saying this, okay? And many of these sentences are short are because he is trying to justify himself in a quick way, and he's speaking in a quick way. So the way that I read it is he's speaking urgently. He's trying to defend himself. He's almost like a naughty schoolboy trying to defend himself after he's or trying to say he hasn't done something wrong when actually he has. Okay, and that's the way that this piece of text puts it over to you. So, hope you enjoyed this chapter. It'll probably make you want to read on with the next part of the book. Okay, and we have some Jeremy Strong stories in school. We don't have this one in particular, but there are some in school which I'm sure you'll probably go on to try and find out from off the bookshelf now so that you can read them. Take care, kids. Hope you're all okay. Bye. Just a quick reminder, remember to send in your work, please. We would really do like to see it. Either WhatsApp it in, email it in, or send it in via our new post box. I got a new lot of work in yesterday, which I'm going to have to look through and mark. So thank you very much to those of you that have sent it in. Well done. Take care, and we'll wait for the next instalment of your reading next week.